Greetings. Funny thing about love, isn't it? It starts like a drug and ends like a diagnosis. They fucked around with something divine. You. And now they call it trauma. Isn't that poetic? They danced with your chaos, thinking it was a game, thinking they could sip from your madness and still stay sane. But nobody walks into a storm and walks out clean. You were the storm, darling, and now they shake. When they hear thunder, see, they thought they could handle you, that they could touch your fire without getting burned. They thought they could study your silence, decode your calm, flirt with your danger, and still sleep at night. But what they didn't realize is that your kind doesn't fall in love. Your kind consumes. You don't date. You haunt. You don't text back. You echo in their head at 3 a.m. when the guilt gets loud and the shadows start whispering your name. They thought you were a thrill, a phase, a dopamine hit with a face. But the moment they got too close, they realized they were standing on sacred ground, where saints confess and devils pray. And suddenly their little heart wasn't playing along anymore. Suddenly that excitement they called love started feeling like possession. You warned them, didn't you? You told them you weren't built for the soft kind of love. You were forged in heartbreak, molded by betrayal, kissed by chaos itself. You carry pain like perfume. You laugh at destruction because you've survived it too many times to be scared anymore. They thought they were walking into a romance, but they walked into your resurrection. Now they call you toxic, because it's easier to label what they don't understand. It's easier to say, you broke me, than to admit, you showed me who I really am. They paint you as the villain, because they couldn't handle being a mirror. You didn't ruin them. You revealed them. You didn't damage them. You detonated their illusions. They call it trauma because they can't face the truth. They fell in love with power. They fell in love with danger. They fell in love with someone who didn't need them. You were the chaos that reminded them how small they really were. You were the silence after the explosion. Calm, knowing, unapologetic. You gave them a taste of what real energy feels like. Unfiltered, unchained, untamed. And now every connection after you feels like a ghost. Because once someone touches real intensity, everything else feels plastic. Now they tell their friends they're healing from you. But deep down, they miss the high. They miss the unpredictability, the electricity, the thrill of not knowing whether you'd love them or destroy them that day. That's the curse of meeting someone like you. Once they've had the real thing, everything else feels like a diet version of love. You see, you never lose people. You just wake them up. You shatter their illusions and force them to meet their demons in the mirror. And they'll blame you for it. Of course, because they're not brave enough to thank you. They'll say you were cruel, but cruelty is just honesty without sugar. They'll say you were heartless, but tell me, how can you be heartless when you gave them yours first? You gave them access to a version of you nobody else gets to see. You gave them fire. They brought gasoline, and now they're crying about the smoke. Let them choke on it. Because while they're telling everyone you ruined their peace, what they're really saying is, you made them feel alive. You dragged their numb soul out of autopilot, made them taste their own heartbeat, and now the silence feels like death. They'll hate you, worship you, mimic you, stalk your ghost, and pretend they're over you, but you know the truth. You live rent-free inside their chest. Every new connection is just a failed attempt to exorcise you. And here's the twisted beauty of it all. You were never the villain, you were the lesson, you were the test they weren't ready for. You were the mirror they couldn't stand to look into. They'll keep calling it trauma because it sounds better than saying, I met someone who was more real than I could handle. But you'll keep walking, calm, silent, dangerous, because you learned something too. You learned that your intensity is not a curse, it's your crown. And those who can't handle it, they'll call it damage. Those who can, they'll call it divine. So let them talk. Let them rewrite the story, paint themselves the victim, and hide from the truth. You already won the moment they realize they'll never forget you, because in the end, they didn't fall in love with your face. They fell in love with your flame, and they'll spend the rest of their lives trying to find warmth in a world that only ever gives them lukewarm love. So smile, darling. Let them call it trauma. You know it was transformation. You were never the heartbreak. You were the awakening. Ah, so you want more, don't you? Of course you do, because that's what people always do when they meet a storm that remembers their name. They keep coming back, not for peace, but for chaos that feels like truth. They crave the very thing that destroyed them. That's the sickness of humanity, isn't it? They mistake comfort for healing and addiction for love. They want the light, but only if it flickers like fire. You see, they never wanted to love you. They wanted to survive you. They wanted to tame you, frame you, fit you into something smaller, softer, quieter. But how do you cage lightning? How do you tell the storm not to thunder? How do you tell the flame not to burn? They learned the hard way. You can't fix someone who was born from the ashes of their own destruction. You can't save someone who already made peace with the devil inside. You can't hurt someone who turned pain into power long ago. You didn't break them, you unmasked them. They were never built for the kind of love that requires fireproof skin. They came with paper hearts, and you breathe fire. They called you heartless because you stopped bleeding for people who wouldn't even flinch if it were you on the floor. They called you cold because you learned to control the temperature of your rage. They called you dangerous because you don't beg for acceptance anymore. But tell me, what's more dangerous than a person who knows exactly who they are? They can't handle that kind of certainty. It shakes them because deep down, they still build their worth on validation. You build yours on revenge and resurrection. Now look at you, unbothered, untouchable, unavailable. You've become the very thing they prayed never to lose and hoped never to face again. You've turned pain into a performance. You've turned rejection into a religion. And now the same ones who laughed at your chaos, they study your silence like scripture. They'll never admit it, but every version of you that broke, every night you died inside, became the blueprint for the monster they can't stop loving. You were forged, not found. And now your calm is scarier than your wrath ever was. They whisper about you now. They tell people you're different. No, darling, you're evolved. You walked through every fire they swore would finish you, and instead of screaming, you learned to smile in the smoke. Now they call that crazy. But crazy is just the name the weak give to strength they don't understand. You are their unfinished story, their unsent text, their what if in the back of a quiet mind. They'll go on pretending they've moved on, but deep down, every time someone touches them the wrong way, they'll think of you. Every time they hear laughter that doesn't sound like yours, they'll crave your madness again. Because no one else feels like you. No one else burns like you. No one else turns love into prophecy like you do. and you. You've stopped needing them to understand, because you realized the very same love that made them fear you is the same love that makes the world follow you. You've become the warning and the wish, the danger and the desire, the villain and the vision. And that's the cruel, beautiful paradox. They'll hate you for what they can't destroy and love you for what they can't replace. So walk, slowly, quietly, like a ghost that knows its worth. Let them whisper, let them ache, let them pretend. Because long after the noise fades, you'll still be the one echoing inside their guilt, their dreams, their sleepless nights. You were never the wound. You were the awakening that bled truth. And they'll spend the rest of their lives trying to numb the memory of what it felt like to touch something that real. So let them keep calling it trauma. You and I both know what it really was. It was divinity, it was alchemy, it was you.